Okay, as I said, I'm going to skip ahead to the section 3.3 and not cover section 3.2, the VLOOKUP process, until a later video. So let's go through what section 3.3 talks about in our text, and that's conditional formatting. As you can see from this this column, it's hard to pick out the fails from the past. They all kind of blend together. So I'd like to set up something that changes the background color or changes the font color for those conditions that I'm looking for. So just as we did an if statement where we did that conditional test to say if this value is greater than a certain number, write this information, pass. If it isn't, write fail. So I'm going to use the same kind of thought process, but now I'm going to do a conditional format. So it's not testing numerical it's not doing a calculation, it's testing a condition and changing the format or the view that I see. So conditional formatting is up here on the home ribbon. I'm going to highlight the cells that I want first, and then I'm going to select this conditional tab. Now I'm offered a bunch of different options here. So the first option I'm going to look at is highlight cell rules, and when I hover over that, the flyout shows me all the different things that I can do very quickly on the fly. So in this case, a lot of these are numerical. So greater than, I can't say greater than fail. That doesn't make any sense. That's not a number. So I want to find something that talks about text. So here's one where text that contains. So let's highlight that one. And now it's saying, well, what do you want me to look for in terms of text? So I want to look for fails. And I can change that formula or that, that format to be whatever I want it to be. Right? So I can grab all of these different types, or I can put a custom format. But if I'm looking for something very quickly, I want it to stand out. So I'm going to stick with this light red fill and dark red text. Okay, so now if I click out of there, let's go ahead and give this student in line 22 a better success rate. So let's change our value up here to 60%. As we created before, that once I hit enter, this fails is going to turn into a pass, and I'm going to lose that formatting. Looks great. Very nice. So that's conditional formatting quickly. That was a very quick pass. So let's take a look at how we deal with it in numbers. We're going to do the same thing, highlight the cells that we're interested in, but we're going to now do highlight cells that are greater than. Let's say greater than 80%. And we want those to appear in green. So I can see anybody who's getting a B or better very quickly. There's another thing that the textbook shows you that, again, is one of those, that was my jaw dropper for the day, with this option to do data bars. So what the data bars will do is it'll take your numbers and it will provide a data, a bar. It'll color in the cell based on what that number is relative to the rest. So I'm just going to select this blue one, for example, and let's explain what it just did. So it showed that this 96% is greater than, a lot greater than this 26%. So it fills in the cell almost 96%, and 26% doesn't fill it in that much. So you can see how it very quickly shows you those students in this case that have really high grades compared to those ones that have really low grades. The last thing I'll show you is this idea called a heat map. Now this isn't in your text. This is something that I used before. in my job where we needed to create color scales. And so what happens when you use this heat map idea is the software evaluates all of your data, and those things that are on the top end of that data set appear in the green, and then those things that are lower on your data set appear in red. And I think what I would tell you is you will learn more by just playing around. So, you certainly can click into any of these different options, and you can identify things very quickly by using the conditional formatting. It also highlights things so they come to your attention a lot better. So you can drive what's happening. You can look at just the top 10 and the bottom 10 and whatnot, so you understand where things are relative to each other. As we went through the data bars and the color scales, there are different things you can do. You can also do these icons set. So is it increasing or decreasing and whatnot. So those are really interesting. So the other thing we'll quickly look at is I'm going to highlight this column of information. And we know we had conditional formatting there, and that was based on that text contains format. And I want to see what that looks like in terms of a rule. So the book will go through some examples on how you can add new rules, editing things, or even delete rules and whatnot. Again, somewhat advanced. Play around with it and see what you can do. So that's conditional format. I think it's a really excellent thing to know. Well, I'm going to follow up with a final video that's going to go in and fill out this letter grade and put in a value based on some information or based on the percentage value, and that will be in the follow-up video, and we're going to use the VLOOKUP function there. I will say that's a very advanced topic. And so I'm giving you a heads up that this might be an involved video. So good luck so far, and we will continue on.